Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. If you need help with anything, check out findingvalue.com. That is where I dive deeper into all of these subjects, topics, looking for potential investment opportunities. I also go over a lot of my strategies for the bull market that we are in. So if that's interesting to you, definitely sign up. We've got a Black Friday coupon code that is still active. It'll probably be active till the end of this week. So it's Black Friday, one word. Let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on. We're going to start with the DXY. DXY still looks strong to me. We've got a good bounce here with small selling pressure there. So that still looks good to work its way on up. So that looks strong at the moment. What generally drives this is a mismatch of yields that are backing the dollar or the bond market. Yields going up strengthens the currency. Yields going down, generally the currency weakens along with it. So we've got yields pulling on back here. We've got a pretty good down day today in the 2-year, and that looks like it wants to continue lower. The momentum is definitely to the downside, and we could see this pull on back for some period of time. And we have to get that momentum to continue pulling on back. We've got the 10-year down 1%. So we pulled on back. We've got kind of this reversal candlestick here. We reversed early in the morning. So we went up in the morning here, then sold off throughout the day. In the short term, these things can turn on a dime. But what most people think, and I'm kind of indifferent at this moment, not knowing exactly where yields will go, but a lot of people think this is going to fall. And it does look like that from this viewpoint on the weekly candlesticks. So we'll see if this continues to fall lower. The 30-year yield down 1%, and that's also getting some selling pressure. It is a reversal candlestick today, so we were coming up early in the day. You can see we're coming up here. Then we turned and sold on off. So the momentum is heading lower, and we'll see if this dive bombs lower here in the short term. We're right around support there. TYX TNX ratio just chopping sideways, which means that the relationship of the curve isn't really moving all that much. Everything was down about 1% today across the board. And again, we're at an inverted area. And gold and silver do really great when this comes back up. That generally signals a slowdown in the market. And this is your inflationary impulse move, slowdown in the market potentially. But if inflation is persistent, we could stay down here for a while. And the curve may or may not do much in terms of normalization or inverting. That's really what we're looking at. It just stays relatively the same. TLT bond prices moving on up a little bit. Up. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is a bullish engulfing here. Pretty strong candlestick. So it gapped down in the morning. That's the morning down here. And then we ripped higher. So the downtrend here is broken. And we could see a move higher in bond prices, which means we could see lower yields. Now, lower yields is going to help the stock market because low inflation, lower yields is a condition that the stock market does like. It does like that. 2 and 10, we inverted a little bit, but again, we've just been tracking sideways here for the most part, and we're still within this pattern that I've got drawn in here. Gold's up $7 an ounce. It's not a great looking chart. What I don't like about it is we've got a trend line here. We've broken that to the downside. And then we've got a big bearish engulfing candlestick and not much response on the buy side. So it makes me think that this could still go lower. And we could pull back or consolidate to the sideways or slightly lower for a period of time. Silver, on the other hand, doesn't look that bad. We've got a breakout today, looking pretty good. where we could potentially continue higher. And then the long term looks really good. This is, think of it as like a flag pattern, breakout, pattern there, breakout, pattern there. It's got that stair step looking pattern that I look for. So it looks really good. Platinum down about 1%. We're still squeezing into this corner. And I do think down in this region down here, that's a good spot to be looking. Palladium up $6 an ounce, but we're still squeezing between resistance and support. There's your resistance, there's your support, and there we are bouncing in between. GDX down just slightly. Let's go to the dailies here. So, man, this is nice looking chart, but we dropped lower here and we're consolidating sideways, which generally means we could end up down there, in my opinion, because whenever you drop with this type of magnitude and you have no bounce, generally you end up with some inverted flag pattern that heads a little bit lower. GDXJ has the same setup, but it's right on support. This big support level going across. You've got some buyers and sellers at these locations in here, so we could come in and sit there for a little bit based off that previous support. SILJ down 0.5%. It looks, when you trade, I mean, just to go and talk about things. When you trade, a lot of people don't like. You wouldn't be trading these moves like necessarily in here. What I would do is I'd look for a big setup like this and then take a position here, ride it on up, and either still ride it if you're a long-term investor, or sell out of it when you get over here on the first hint of a selling pressure move. So what I am doing these daily updates, but that's not how you would necessarily trade. You would be very patient, wait for your entry points, and then take the entry when it's there. Here, you're kind of forcing it because there's no entry point necessarily. It's kind of like in no man's land. We've come on down. It's moving a little bit sideways. Yeah, it could go up. Yeah, it could go down. There's no strong pattern here where it's like I need to jump in this thing. But on the long term, if you're a long-term investor and you're going to play, this entire pattern, perhaps we break up and go, then yeah, it's not the worst entry in the world, but it's not the best. XAU to gold ratio, we are real low here. This is where you're basically telling, what's the valuation of mining companies in relationship to gold versus history. This is really, really cheap down here. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't mean it will go up immediately. So if you're a trader, I wouldn't be really doing much because traders use momentum. They use sentiment shifts and stuff like that. If you're a long-term investor, it's cheap. Then yeah, that's a good spot to be looking for a long-term position for a move out in the future. Crude oil down 1.5%. I know there was some stronger selling pressure today, but we're up against resistance. Here we are. And we've got a decent move higher. So bullish engulfing here, hit resistance, sold back off, ran up, hit resistance. So now what we're looking for is what are the lows doing and how strong are these impulse selling pressure moves? Here's a low, here's a low. Now we're looking to put in something here to get a higher low, turn it around and try to break through that downtrend. That's what we're looking for if you're bullish. If you're bearish, you're looking for more follow through to put you through this support region at $67, $66. ETF gas down a little bit. We are consolidating. So this bearish engulfing here led to the consolidation. That was a reversal candlestick. Now, reversal candlesticks do not mean that you just fall like a rock. You have to watch after it to see if it has some buoyancy. Buoyancy means there's no follow through and buyers are kind of soaking the selling pressure up and you consolidate sideways or on a flag pattern or whatever. So that still looks bullish in my opinion. You're getting wicks on the bottom here, which means there's some buying pressure there. Natural gas in America, it's a bullish setup. We've broken out of the downtrend line. And then a lot of the times what happens is you break out and you return back to the breakout. It's called a retest of the breakout or a back test. That still looks to be in play. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, getting some stronger selling pressure today, down about a little over 3%. Now this is your support level here of this downtrend there. We broke out of the downtrend, but we've got other resistance levels all through here that's going to tire us out, tires the buyers out, because what we're going to encounter is selling pressure. Selling pressure comes from these guys there, from this here, from this here, from the, all these guys are putting this pressure of selling pressure right where we're at. So we got a little bit of selling pressure here. We were going to break out. Everything looked absolutely fantastic. And then the sellers dumped on us. And here we are coming on back. We do have a little wick at the bottom. We're still above support here. We'll have to see what kind of follow through we get over the next few trading sessions to see if we try to attempt to break out again. If this is bearish, you're going to see big red candlesticks next to it. That's what you'll see next. OIH going through the same thing, but I don't think it's a bearish setup because usually when you get bearish setups, you'll get big selling pressure like this. You'll get an upward facing, that's an inverted flag pattern. It hit probably the target here, which is that this move is that move. We get big buying pressure. It's with the wicks on the bottom, comes on up, comes back. We create a higher low. We come up, hit resistance before because you got all this resistance over here. Resistance, 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 and we're trying to break out. That's the way that I see it. So although we have strong selling pressure today in the chart, we are still kind of trying to break out of this area that's got some selling pressure. And we did see some selling pressure today. It was down about 2%. Newcastle coal still continuing to head a little bit lower here. Big picture view, your base, your breakout of the base, you come on up. This looks very, shoulder headish, shoulder-ish. Came back down, and now we're consolidating here. So a low risk entry point is when you're consolidating. And think of this as a base that it's creating. And we've got that kind of shoulder, head, shoulder look that's going on. And we still have maybe perhaps a selling pressure move down to 132, almost where we're at. Maybe we come down and get some support here. And we'll have to wait and see. That is momentum lower. Profits of the uranium trust down 1.2%. Still looks good to me. Big buying pressure up. We fell like this, and then we've got another upward impulse move higher. So it looks good to me. And this is a bigger bloody nose is what I call it. Uranium futures pricing moving sideways, slightly higher. Looks fine. We've got URA down slightly, but still above support. That is a good thing. We've got URNM down a little bit, but that still looks like a flag pattern or pennant formation like that. And then URNJ, another kind of flag pennant formation. And I'll just leave that in there. That potentially could head higher. We've got copper, little bloody nose today, still looks good to go on up. We've broken through that resistance, which now becomes support. We've got COPX down a little bit today. This could be an inverted flag pattern. It's possible. And that's where, technical analysis, it works okay. It's not the end all be all. What I use it for is these big picture grandiose views, double bottom. And if you purchased anything in here, that's a great time to be purchasing. I mean, even if you were trying to catch this bottom into 2020 and you had to ride through this, even if you were purchasing here, those were still good buys. If you could purchase all through there. The technical analysis guys would purchase here. So depending on your patience and your time frame, that's the difference, really. I prefer to try to get it down here. That's what I try to do because your strategy, your returns are so much larger, but it does require patience, and sometimes you get some volatility that you have to ride through. But everything here looks good to go higher from a longer term perspective. Iron ore working its way on up 0.5%. And it looks like it's trying to gain some momentum here. It's looking pretty good. I view this as a Livermore accumulation cylinder potential. And then we've got this part, I think, is from interest rates going ballistic goose. But it still looks good to work its way on up. Aluminum's up 1.18. We're at that resistance line again. Keep knocking on that resistance. We'll break through at some point. Nickel up 0.83. This thing's trying to put in another bottom area. We have broken this downtrend too. So we'll see if we get any follow through here to the upside. Mu down 0.8%. It still looks okay. We've got big strong support here. What people generally do is they get bored of it and then they sell out. You've got the setup before it, you've got the support underneath you, so it's all good. You just have to wait, and sometimes this bounces around. Sometimes it travels sideways, consolidates further before heading higher. Emerging markets up 0.25%. It obviously could be a flag pattern, but I will say this: remember, the dollar drops. If interest rates pull back, I do think that this will work its way on up. KRE, it's holding steady today. Still looks okay. Not a ton of selling pressure. No reversal candlesticks here. We are sitting on top of a breakout. This is your breakout there. I drew this a long time ago too. That still looks good. TAN down 2.3%. That could be a reversal candlestick. I'm gonna look. No, it's just a down day. But TAN getting some selling pressure there. I don't have any money in this, so I just kind of watch it. Lit down 2.3%. It's back to support, and we'll see if the support level holds. Support is this guy there. We're trying to get through it, and we're encountering some selling pressure. REMX getting some selling pressure too, down about 3.4%. This could pull back a little bit. But I mean, the structure here, it turned, it broke out, and we could get a retest. The retest, if you kind of look at that downtrend, the retest could have come all the way back here and we'd still be all right. It's still a possibility. Baltic Dry Index still selling off, down 4.7%, looking pretty weak. Momentum's to the downside. Hopefully it sells way off and we get down here where I can get another entry point on my favorite companies. XHB down 1.5%, still above support, but we are hanging out here at almost, I think that's all-time highs. Yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely all-time highs. So that's looking okay. We're still above support. Russell 2000 up a little bit, 0.42%, and we're above a heap of support. Playing with all-time highs here. A little bit of oh my goodness, little bit of resistance up here. That's all we've got. We've got S&P 500 continuing higher, and I do think that deals with the lowering of interest rates and a weaker dollar. So the conditions of low inflation, lowering of interest rates could be pumping money into the stock market still. Same with the NASDAQ, up 1.3, and here we go, running higher here. I was expecting a rollover, and we're not getting that rollover. I am wrong, at least so far right now. And that rollover is not going to happen for a little bit, is what I'm seeing here. This is looking pretty dang strong. SMCI up 4%. I'm not going to touch this. NVIDIA up 3.5%. It is continuing to stay up there and to work its way on up, and it is a function of the market conditions. We've got Bitcoin up 2.7%, looking pretty strong. Usually you can throw a little trend line in there. This could be, again, a consolidation that's breaking to the upside. We could see further upside here in Bitcoin. Ethereum rolling it. I did say that we're going to potentially pause under here, and then we'll see a large breakout candlestick. There it is. And we are working our way on up in that stair step pattern. That looks like we could move quite a bit in Ethereum here. MSTR up 8%. Now, is this a reversal into a consolidation, it looks like that potentially. With Bitcoin moving higher, we could see MicroStrategy work its way on up. And this could be a big consolidation here. And then the VIX up a teeny bit, but it's still down there, pretty well under control. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. That's where I go over my opinions on everything. And we still have the Black Friday coupon code that is still active. If you're interested, 50% off the first month to try it out, only the first month, and then a yearly discount that you guys can take advantage of if you want to switch to a yearly membership. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.